Hi there and welcome to our next video on some exam questions related to atomic structure. Our first exam question states, a physicist investigates a solid radioactive material. It emits alpha particles, beta particles and gamma rays. The physicist doesn't touch the material. Explain why the alpha particles are less dangerous than the beta particles and gamma rays. And the reason for this is worth 2 marks. So the alpha particles are less penetrating and cannot travel a long distance through the air. And the alpha particle can be stopped by paper. So alpha particles can be stopped by paper. Okay, and that will get you 2 marks. Next question. A diagram represents an atom of beryllium. Complete the following statements by writing one of the letters J, K or L in each box. Each letter should only be used once. The particle with a positive charge is what? So remember, the protons equals electrons. So in order to know which one is which, we need to see if the electrons are the same as the protons. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 electrons, so we must have 4 protons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that means the dark circles are the protons. So K is going to be pointing to the neutron and L is going to be pointing to the proton. So L is the one with the positive charge. The particle with the smallest mass is what? Well, that's going to be J, because J has a mass of 1 over 2000 as it's an electron. So that's going to be J. And the particle with no charge whatsoever, it's going to be K, as it's a neutron and it's neutral. Okay, having those three will get you 2 marks. Next question. Give one reason why all atoms have a total charge of 0. And the reason for this is that the number of protons is equal to the number of electrons, and so the charges cancel out. So the charges cancel out, and that's why atoms are neutral. 1 mark there. Complete the following sentence. There are several isotopes of beryllium. Atoms of different beryllium isotopes have a different number of what? Well, different numbers, isotopes, you should know that that would be neutrons. Okay, again 1 mark. What happens to the structure of an atom to change it into an ion? So remember, in order to change an atom into an ion, the atom must lose or gain an electron. So the atom loses or gains an electron, and that will get you 1 mark. The question is about radioactive decay. Figure 1 shows a nuclear equation for the decay of an atom of uranium. Use information from figure 1 to complete the table below. So we have uranium over here and we need to complete the table. So the mass number of uranium is 235, because the top one is always going to be the mass and the bottom one is going to be the atom. So uranium, the number of protons is going to be 92. And this one over here, well, the mass number, the top one number is going to be 231. Number of protons is the bottom number. Number of neutrons is going to be the mass number, subtract the atomic number. So it's going to be 231 subtract 90. And if we do that, 231 subtract 90, 1 4, 1. That's going to give us 141. And that will get us 3 marks for the 3 numbers in the correct places. Next question. Figure 2 shows the count rate from a radioactive isotope and how it changes over time. What is the half-life of the radioactive isotope? So remember, it's how it halves. So from 100, the half-life must be 50. It's going up in fours. So 40, 44, 48. So 50 is going to be about there. And as you can see, the half-life is 2. So the time in hours is 2. And explanation, the half-life of the radioactive isotope is the time it takes for the nucleus to halve. So the time it takes for the count rate to halve. The count rate to halve. And that would be 2 marks. Next question. When a radioactive isotope decays, it can produce beta particles. What is a beta particle? Easy 1 mark question. It's a high-speed electron. Okay, 1 mark. Next question. Beta particles can cause cancer. Choose the sentences. Complete the sentences. Use words from the box. Tumors form when cell division is what? Tumors that do not invade other tissues are called what? So this is linking back to biology. Tumors form when cell division is what? Cell division is uncontrolled. And tumors that do not invade other tissues are called what? Remember, there's 2 sorts, benign and malignant. Benign ones are the ones that invade a specific tissue. So that's going to be benign. And that would be 2 marks. Next question. Over 100 years ago, scientists thought the atom was like a plum pudding. The diagram below shows the plum pudding model of the atom. The scientists knew that an atom has negatively charged particles. They also knew that an atom has no overall charge. What do the scientists conclude about the charge of the plum pudding pudding part of the model? So the plum pudding, remember the plums were the electrons which are scattered on the pudding itself. The pudding part is positive. So it's going to be a positive charge. Remember, it was an overall positive charge with negative electrons scattered onto it. So it's going to be an overall positive charge for 1 mark. Okay, final question now. In this question, you will be assessed on using good English, organizing information clearly, and using specialist terms where appropriate. Describe the model now used for the structure of the atom. In your answer, you should give details of the individual particles that make up an atom and include the relative masses and relative charges of these particles, and you can't include a diagram in your answer. So what model is used for the structure of the atom? And you need to give the information on the individual particles and the relative masses and charges. So let's start off. What does the atom include? Well, the atom has a nucleus. So a nucleus, and it contains protons and neutrons. Okay, now around the nucleus are the electron shells, and they orbit the nucleus. So they orbit the nucleus and they are fixed. So the first electron shell holds 2 electrons, the second one 8, the third one 8 as well. So the electron shells orbit the nucleus. The nucleus contains the protons and neutrons. Now I'm not drawing a diagram here, I'm drawing a table now. So we have the protons, the neutrons, and the electrons. Protons have a charge of +1. Neutrons have an overall charge of 0, and electrons have a charge of -1. Now the mass, well, a proton is 1, neutron is also 1, and electron is really small, 1 over 2000. Okay, so we've done the charges and we've done the mass, and we've each particle we need to give details upon it. So the protons and the neutrons are in the nucleus, the electron shells orbit the nucleus, and they have electrons in them. Now, additional information you could have added that overall charge of the atom is 0. So the overall charge is neutral because the number of protons and electrons are equal. So this means that they cancel out, meaning the overall charge is going to be neutral. And the overall charge of the nucleus is positive because neutrons are neutral and they don't hold a charge. Okay, so just to let you know where your marks are coming from. So the nucleus contains protons and neutrons. Electrons orbit in electron shells around the nucleus. You could have also said that they go in this order, configuration. You get 3 marks for the charges and the masses in the correct places for proton, neutron, and electron. And if you wanted to add some additional information, you could say that the overall charge is neutral, or the overall charge of the nucleus is positive. Okay, and that will give you 6 marks for that answer. And that is it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. And one last thing, please subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell.